Have you ever thought it would be useful to have a small graph that just shows me the pattern of my numbers? If the answer is yes, then today's video is going to be really useful for you. That's because Excel offers something called Sparklines. Let me show you exactly how to use them. First off, Sparklines are an Excel desktop option only. We'll find out later if they can be viewed in Excel on the web. They certainly can't be created there. Sparklines are little graphs and charts that appear in a single cell within your spreadsheet. Remember, full graphs will take up a range of cells, an item that just hovers over the top of your spreadsheet. So the Sparklines need to have the figures already entered and available and appear in a cell or a column somewhere nearby. I personally prefer them on the right hand side so you see the data and then the Sparklines at the end. We've got a couple of different ways of creating them. The easiest way is to select where you want the little chart to appear. Then we're going to the Insert tab on the ribbon, and as you look along, you can see there's a section called Sparklines. So there are three. There's a line, a column, and then win-loss. Line and column are pretty obvious on the difference. The win-loss shows you when you've got negative and positive numbers. I've got this set up to show you the three different types. So I'm going to have a spark line on the first option, and I'm going to click line. I get a little dialog box. Because I've already chosen the location, it's asking me for the range. Let me just select those cells and say OK. And this one is pretty standard. As soon as you've created your spark line, you've got a new tab on the ribbon. So I can change between the three types. I've got different options that I can show. And of course, I've got some different styles that I can choose. The second way to create them is to select the data first. And remember, this is very much, it's a row, not a range. And again, back into Insert, let's go into Line. You can see this time, because the range has been selected, it's picked that up. It now wants me to say, where do I want to put the Sparkline? And it creates it. Just so you're aware, sadly, the auto sum type idea, where you select everything, doesn't work for Sparkline. So you can see I've selected the data and where I want the Sparkline. Let's go in and select it. And you can see it's actually just saying, well, this is a range. Where do you want to put it? So I'm going to manually fix that to say I don't want column H because that's where I want the Sparkline. And it doesn't work because it hasn't updated itself. So I'm going to cancel that. Let me show you what it's going to create if I select a range of numbers. I'm going to choose a standard one again. Let's choose a single option. And you can see that doesn't work because it's not a range in terms of multiple rows and columns. If I change my location to not be a single, but one for each, you can see it's now happy to create that for me. I can also use my fill handle to drag it down. So let me show you that on the second one. So that's the spark lines. We've also got columns. So let's do the same thing. Select my data, insert, but this time I'm going to go to the column option. I want it to put that into that cell. And you can see I've got a mini chart. I love this. I can also, as I mentioned, I can click and drag that down to create the charts for a range in that respect, assuming everything's in the same place. Last but not least, we have got the win and loss. So let's select that data, insert win-loss Sparkline. Okay, and again, I'm going to click and drag this down because it's the quickest way to do it. So you can see we've got three different types of Sparklines that can be created. What's really cool about them is that they are just within a cell, which means that if I resize the column, the little Sparkline chart resizes as well. That's not just the columns. I can also resize my row and my column, and the Sparkline will always resize to take up the space that I've given it. Here in Excel on the web, you can see I've got my Sparklines happily displayed. However, if I go into the Insert menu, you'll notice that it doesn't exist. So in terms of creation, Sparklines are Excel desktop only, but you can view them. I can edit the underlying data and the Sparkline will adjust. Sparklines aren't something you're going to necessarily use every day, but when you need that quick visual information to show you a trend or a pattern, Sparklines can be really useful. Please give the video a thumbs up and remember to be told as more tips and tricks are released, click that subscribe and notification bell. I'll see you next time.